Oh, sweet Mary and Joseph. It's my birthday this weekend, y'all. But that don't matter. Because I'm kind and a generous God sitting upon this throne. Ladies and gentlemen, live audience right here, right now. Can I get a fuck yeah from my team, Julie and Spazzy, who are getting married? The first PG wedding? What? Going on? Give that love! Give that love for the snuggle pair! One man's a corpse. The other lady knows how to say hi. That'll do for us. Yeah, boy! So I'm speaking, right? I'm doing the thing. I get one of them online things. It's all good, right? It's all good, right? I mean, I don't want to make it all about me, but mostly, I think that's fair, ego-wise, right? Just saying. Just saying. And I wear what I want, and I have an entrance. Right? That's all I'm saying. We do it that way. That's how we do it. Congratulations, team. That is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Not only that, it is the Drinking Christmas birthday web show tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's going to get heavy. For those of you who've not been a part of the Such a Show, it's a thing. It's a hell of a thing. So prepare yourselves. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be a night of things and stuff. As always, we caveat it with you look after yourself, right? It's not my responsibility. It's not my problem. We look after us. You look after you, right? Doesn't matter what your poison is. Doesn't matter what your poison is. You can have water if you want. Nobody's judging, right? You do you. Just don't blame me the next day. Or wherever it is you wake up. Don't blame me. That's not how it's going to work. So we're doing that tomorrow. That's at 8 PM tomorrow. All right? That'll be going on then. But that's not why you're here right now. Chat. Live audience. Can I get some Kappa Prides in the chat? Can I get some Kappa Prides in this chat right now? Because we're going there. We've got ourselves some gay drama. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Get those Kappa Prides. We have a substantially awesome gay audience on both the men and the ladies. What? And now, we're going to get some gay drama. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy, we're going to pop off now. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Right, then. We're having... I'm going to pick some overly butch names. Yeah, boy. Like, Saracen. Oh, we had Saracen. No, I can't have Saracen. Damn it. Oh, we're having Death Scythe Pally. Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's here. Are you here, Julio? Death Scythe Pally's in. And we're going to have, Duncan. Fuck yeah. Fucking Duncan. Big Dunk. Yeah? Big Dunk is in the place. Now, apparently, Long Cordy is the best player in the guild. Right? Best player in the guild. Death Scythe Pally is a twat. Right? Remember that. And Dunk is an angry Australian demon hunter. An angry Australian demon hunter. Let's rock and roll. Now, we need a rival guild, and in parentheses, it tells us we should rename it to something edgy and toxic. That's two things you've got to meet. Right? That's two criteria. We need something edgy and toxic. Andy, edgy and toxic. Your thoughts?
Stark Industries.
Oh, look. You can slice it with a knife. Oh, Diamond Dogs. Yes. Oh. No, I do like Venom Predators.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. I like Venom Predators. That sounds really good, actually. We're having Venom Predators. We're having Venom Predators. That's hard to say. I don't like that. All right, then. Holler Preacher to the Ghost Man if he's there.
Hey, mate!
I mean, after your recent weeks, that's so lackluster.
Mate, I'm coming in strong later. I'm just fucking warming up.
You're just warming up. All right, it's the intro. And, of course, a big sweaty fucking hello to the chat. A sweaty hello. I need more double chin. Oh. I am writing from Team Australia, where you call your best friends a cunt and your worst enemies mate. Mate. Yeah? Like, you guys are my mates. That works. Got it. This story comes from my guild's mythic progression in the Tomb of Sargeras, where an old guildie returned and somehow managed to make the entire guild absolutely despise him. That's pure hatred, y'all. In 5 easy steps, and confirmed, number 4 will shock you. Number 4 will shock you. I joined this guild partway through their Nighthold progression, following a huge falling out with my Cesspool guild. And I very quickly started to integrate socially with other members. I came to this guild with Long Cordy, who I've been playing WoW with for just over a year now at the time of writing this. In this guild was a gay officer called Deathscythe Pally, who I clicked with almost immediately. I am also a gay man, and I found it entirely refreshing to finally have someone in game who enjoys the beef as much as I do.
Talking about dicks, mate.
That's right. I could say things like, okay, all right, gay men, I need a translation. I could say things like, Yas Hunty work the house down boots. How many gay Australians have we got in the chat today? Because I don't know what that means. Let me say that to you again, Andy. Translate for me as a gay Australian man. Yas Hunty work the house down boots.
Well, friend, that cock tastes mighty fine.
Apparently, that's what that means. I don't know. I don't know. And he would know exactly. Yas Queen is like, hell yeah, dude. Oh. What's work the house down boots? Work's got a Q in it. W-E-R-Q.
Work.
Work. I don't know.
Why don't you let me suck on that dick, mate?
I need Rob with the gay dictionary.
Who's got a gay dictionary?
Rob, he used to tell me that he's got an entire gay dictionary in his mind that he would translate things for me for. I know. He's fucker. I need Rob. I need Rob here. We would talk at length about just some really super gay things. Mainly, are you ready for it? RuPaul's Drag Race, which we both absolutely loved. It was awesome. All right, just gonna lay it down. Awesome. It was awesome. RuPaul rocking this guild. Now, I want to point out here, neither of us were trying to smash, right? He's engaged. I had a boyfriend who thinks video games are lame but doesn't care that I play them. Nice. Not going to disturb you. Understands the situation. My guild is on an extremely dead server in the Oceanic community. As such, there were only 3 guilds that ever killed Mythic Gul'dan. Ours, an Alliance guild that competes with us, and the Venom Predators. The Venom Predators, the only other relatively relevant Horde guild on our server. Now, the Venom Predators is a much better guild than ours. They were the 6th Oceanic guild to kill Mythic Kil'jaeden. We believe this was only because many of the better guilds disbanded or didn't give a fuck about it. Our guild has always had an extremely contentious relationship with the Venom Predators, as we are the easiest target for them to poach from. As we're the only other Horde guild on the server, and Mythic capable players that could play at the level they needed. You're a feeder guild. Andy? Why are you getting your rifle out?
No, I needed to move it out of the way to get into a box. What? Hey, promise.
Funnily enough, approximately 60 to 70% of their core raid team were ex-players from our guild, which is part of the reason that there is no love lost between us and them. At the start of the heroic week in Tomb, we received 2 new trials. Both were players who were previously from the Venom Predators that left us in the past to go raid with them. Oh, returning players. Both were enhancement shamans. One is irrelevant to the story and is actually a cool dude. The other, though,
Just saying, don't get alarmed if this comes out.
There's a lot of things aiming at my face right there. Really close. And your finger is on the trigger.
It's not on the trigger!
Your finger was on the trigger.
I'm just saying, mate.
Practice rifle safety in the office.
It's not loaded, mate. Wait, oh, it was loaded.
It was loaded, yeah. It was definitely loaded. It was definitely loaded. The other was Duncan. Big Dunk only started playing WoW at the end of WoD and played in my current guild at the start of the Nighthall for about a month and left before I joined. I quickly realised Dunk was another gay man. However, he was a gay man from New Zealand. That meant he had a janky as fuck accent. Now, I could neither confirm or deny, and I will not put my flag next to that statement. I am just reading what's here. But apparently Dunk has a janky as fuck accent. At first, I really quite liked Dunk. He's funny, and we shared the same humour. He was also deeply into RuPaul's Drag Race. One thing I noticed is that he hilariously had a massive boner for Long Cordy. He would constantly be trying to drag Long Cordy away from group conversations in Discord to a different channel or a private call. He would go to great lengths to try and stay up extremely late New Zealand time so as to not miss out on any post-raid conversations and hangouts in the guild Discord. However, one little thing about Deathscythe Pally and I, one thing that Deathscythe Pally and I noticed was that the second that Long Cordy would leave the call, Duncan would leave without even saying goodbye. Rude. One night, Duncan disconnected for a few seconds. However, it was late. Really late. And therefore, and Long Cordy left and went to bed. A few moments later, Long Cordy came back. And in the guild the next day, Duncan was very, very upset to discover that his affectionate little focus had been up for hours, posting videos, spamming memes in Discord, and apparently everyone had a grand old time while Duncan was in bed. Now, I did genuinely like Dunk at first. However, many others in the guild already hated him. And this wasn't their first rodeo with this annoying guy. On his first night back, he called one of our healers an aggressive autist.
Hate that.
Day one. You are an aggressive autist. And he also asked Long Cordy why his damage was so bad. And started trying to tell him how to play his class. While Duncan does do very good damage, often aiming for, oh, wait for it, passes in the 90s. Yeah? Mechanically, he was fucking dog shit. Throughout our progression in Tomb, he would often wipe the raid trying to push his deeps. The most frustrating thing was, we didn't have the roster capable to replace him. So we had to keep him around. In total, we believe he survived 4 Trilliax kills. That Trilliax, though. No, wrong boss. Oh, that was Nighthold, wasn't it? Yeah, cool. At one point, he sets his sights on me, deciding I wasn't playing my class to a high enough standard for him. I was an Affliction Warlock. Now, they are tough, though. Now, damage-wise, I usually sit around, you know, mid-80s, high 80s, sometimes early 90s, you know the score. While still being one of the stronger players in the guild mechanically, I personally would rather not wipe the raid and get a green pass than push my deeps and not kill the boss, right? This wasn't good enough for Dunk, though. He was helpful enough at first, sure, figuring out how Affliction works, trying to give me tips. However, when he saw minimal change, he started to get angry. He became pushy, at which point I just stopped replying to him. If he ever brought it up in Discord, I'll just figure out an excuse to leave the call. About 3 weeks into the tier, we got a new Affliction trial. After his first night, Duncan took it upon himself to become this man's mentor. He decided to message me to let me know how it was going. Now, I'm in an awkward situation here, folks. And that is because I have a choice to make. I've got dialogue to read for you guys. And I have to sort of try and do it in a janky New Zealand gay accent and a gay Australian accent. Now, we're either going to go too far or not enough to keep you guys happy. It's going to be tough. Andy, a New Zealand accent.
Oh, I don't know, mate.
It's hard.
It's Australian, isn't it?
I don't think we're allowed to say that. It triggers.
Same as Australians, isn't it?
All right, Duncan.
Kiwis.
Duncan starts off with, "Hi, I've been helping the new guy with logs in his rotation. He's going to dumpster on you tonight. Smiley face." I reply, "All right, cunts." "Hi, he's easily a much better player than you, as are most of our ranged." Too far? Went too far. There's always the risk, Andy.
Always the risk. Did you super gay it?
I did go super gay. I replied, "All right, I don't really know what you want me to say." "Hi, I hope the bench is nice and warm. Smiley face." Me laughing my fucking arse off. And with Dunk's final reply, ... "I'm not trolling." After this exchange, I lost all respect for Duncan. Well, I originally liked him, and I despised him. What was the point? Why did he suddenly have it out for me? It's not like whether or not the trial took my spot or if not affected him directly. So I couldn't understand what the fucking problem was. Funnily enough, the new guy got markedly worse as his trial went on. And when we weren't taking him for progression, he quit the game. Affliction wall problems, boys. Later on in the tier, while we were on Mistress, Duncan convinced some guy in a much better guild than ours to re-roll from his 99th percentile Shadow Priest to Affliction lock and trial in our guild. Again, once the move and trial was confirmed, Duncan got in contact again. "Hi! So my friend from AJ's is rolling Afflock. He's going to trial here. So, are you going to re-roll Hunter?" Lol. Not a meme, by the way. We need hunters that can do mechanics. They could do damage much easier than you. And you can't do any damage. What a bitch. What a fucking bitch. After that, I ignored him again. Weirdly enough, Duncan still messaged me all the time talking about other stuff. Rather than tell him to fuck off, I just gave him a lukewarm reply like, "Haha, lol, smiley face." Haha. Lol. Smiley face. And occasionally engaged him properly when he was spilling the piping hot tea. Translation. We have a translation. That's Australian gay speak for gossip. Andy, want to spill the piping hot tea?
That's Australian gay shit, I know that.
For gossip.
For gossip?
Yeah.
Want to spill the piping hot tea?
Yeah.
Ah.
There you go. Yeah, Yuvum's got it. Congratulations, Yuvum, on your promotion to an Australian gay man.
I think, you know, it's
nailed it, Yuvum.
Yuvum where I got it from.
And he gave me screenshots and ammunition I could use against him at a later date, if I so wished. Deathscythe Pally, in the meantime, hated his fucking guts. Made no secret about it. Constantly contradicting anything he would say in raid, and do whatever he needed just to rile poor old Duncan up, which was very easy to do. For some reason, Duncan seemed incapable of following social cues or understanding sarcasm, which is why to this day I genuinely believe he does not realise how much of a cunt he was. At the same time, Duncan began to get very annoyed. Oh no, sorry, Long Cordy began to get very annoyed with Duncan, calling him out for his shitty mechanics publicly and privately, while in Discord with Deathscythe Pally. And I would just talk absolute shit about him all day. Oh, a real bitch fest. One frustrating night. Let's go into it. One frustrating night. Maiden progress. We've all been there. Well, some of us have been there. How many of you guys have killed Mythic Maiden? It's alright. No one's judging. How many of you guys have done it? You been there? We've been there. We've been there. He published a tally of all the wipes caused by individuals in the raid. Sweet Jesus. I wish I could see that list. That would be pretty cool. Duncan was second on the list. Duncan tried to fight it. He would come up with reasons such as somebody trapped me. I thought it was an orb. I jumped before I went into the hole. That they weren't all his fault. What were the other classics? Melee didn't move. Melee moved too quickly. It's all that. So Deathscythe Pally sat down in Discord and linked the log of each individual wipe that he caused and pointed out exactly why it was his fault. Duncan logged off. We didn't see him for 3 days until the next raid night. Despite this, Duncan still believed that Deathscythe was one of his bestest friends and would like to brag about how they were tight outside of WoW because they were friends on Facebook. We're pretty tight. I mean, we're Facebook friends. And I don't want to brag or anything, but you could say that we're as close as you could be. IRL. Facebook style. I didn't know about this, but when I found out, I asked Deathscythe about it. He laughed and said, well, I added him on Facebook. And that was about it. That was about it. Things came to a head, though. Mythic Avatar. He didn't like how the melee were handling their chaoses. And he started to bully the melee into doing things so that it would maximize his DPS. Unfortunately, there was one melee who was not a total bitch and told him to go and fuck himself. Asking why we had to do everything his way. Why he can't just do it the way that's the easiest. Forget about DPS so we could just kill the fucking boss. When he whispered Deathscythe and asked him to sort the rogue melee out. At which point, Deathscythe blew up at him in Discord. This is not my fucking problem, he screamed. Sort it out. If he doesn't want to do your strat, act like a fucking adult and deal with it. We aren't your parents. We're trying to kill a boss. Stop being a greedy little cunt and do the mechanics properly. Shit, dude. Shit. Now, who's the first to meme after that? Who's the first to drop a meme? The funniest part about this fact was that poor old Duncan was streaming. And all his friends from the Venom Predators saw the outburst. Clipped it, saved it, memed it for weeks. It was the meme that kept on giving. After the rant, Duncan went quiet, muted himself for the rest of the night. The next day, he told me he was going to go back to the Venom Predators. He was sick of being underappreciated for his enhancement shaman DPS. And after all he had done for this guild. At the same time, he started messaging other raiders saying that he could get them into the Venom Predators. What he didn't anticipate was that they would all turn him down. And they all reported him to Deathscythe Pally. Of course, at this point, Deathscythe Pally was confided in me that he was done with Duncan and couldn't wait till the end of the tier so he could personally kick him from the guild. We had an old enhancement shaman who was coming back for Antorus, so we kind of still needed him till then. Who needs an enhancement shaman? That's not... No one. No. Even now. They're popping off now. Nobody needs an enhancement shaman. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I mean... For their immunities... What Deathside didn't anticipate, though, was Duncan was about to pull the gayest of hissy fits. Oh, shit. I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see it. All right, the gayest of hissy fits. Are you ready?
All the mince.
I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a flap or a mince, but apparently it's about to get very gay. One day in Discord, Deathside put out the feelers. Who wanted to rock a 15 Arcway as it had Biss Arcane Relic in there? Duncan replied, I'm in. However, Deathside had already cultivated a party full of people which could loot arcane relics on the off chance that one of them got it and could trade it to him. So Deathside says, group's full. Sorry, mate. No worries, though. Thanks for asking. Discords. Duncan simply replied, I am done. Snap of the fingers included. Left the Discord. Left the guild. Wanting to know more, and of course being a nosy cunt, I messaged Dunk. Did you leave the guild for, mate? Question mark, question mark. Hey. Because having arcane relics is better than being friends, apparently. Dude, group was full. Like, wasn't that serious. It's just my plug. Duncan replied, hi. I messaged him like 10 minutes earlier saying my plug. And he was like, yeah, sure, get you in if there's any groups. Fuck that. I can't be fucked. I just don't care anymore. I've put so much time into this guild and pretty much no one wants me there anyway, so I am fucking done. Me. Fair enough, mate. Laters then. And with that, Duncan was gone. Duncan went back to the Predators. The literal day after he left the guild, we killed Mythic Avatar. As if a curse was finally lifted. The last message I sent him was just a link of the kill. And saying, perhaps your melee strategy wasn't that good, mate. Duncan never replied. Ah, F for Dunk. There's no being left out of a plus, right? That's not nice. That's not nice. No, you don't leave your mates. Don't leave mates out of plus. You hearing that, Andy?
What's up, pal?
Mates don't leave mates out of plus.
No, mate.
Mates who are mates do plus together.
Mates before great baits.
Plus before loot.
Plus before puss, mate.
Plus before puss.
Yeah.
Or butt, whatever's your poison.
Alright, hang about then. Hang about. Potential loot that is sick before that man's dick.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Bit of a long one, that, innit?
Yeah.
That's what your mum said.
All right. This is just, I mean, this isn't even a story we're writing right now. That's not the title. That's just generally good advice. I should stop helping cesspool guilds. Okay, the description of this person is a paranoid, weed-smoking, immature, 20-year-old idiot who thought of himself as the god of tanking because he taunted when DBM said so. He also played a demon hunter. His Discord name was that spicy weed. So I automatically and correctly assume he was a 420 YOLO bro dude guy with the IQ of an unladen doorknob. Okay. And the guild name we're going to need, here's the description. Besides the GM, it was a chilled guild, had good laughs, and even though most were pretty mediocre at the game, they were dedicated to getting the boss kills, and one night spent 6 hours raiding. And I have to give them mad props for that. And we need a guild name for that. There you go. We need a name for that. Who's going to be our paranoid, weed-smoking, immature 20-year-old? We're going to go with... Let's go with Woof. My plus before puss. I like that. Uh-oh. There we go. There we go. The tryhards. The proper knockers. The dumpster sluts. Really? X-Guild or Guild X? That's for you. That's for you right there. I'm smoking weed right now. What a coincidence. Weebs for dweebs. I like that. I like weebs for dweebs. Weebs for dweebs is what we're having. Okay. I should stop helping cesspool guilds. What did you try and do? You're walking into a dangerous territory where you might come across as a bit of an egomaniac, stepping into these peasant guilds to bless them with your presence. But we'll see. The chat will judge accordingly, right? You guys are feeling very fair today, I think. Hollow Preacher and a manly Sappho Brofist to Ghosty, if he's there.
What, no masks? I'm a Deadpool, motherfucker! It's a two-player sway!
This one is also from Team Australia. It has been a while since the last story I sent. The second story ever in Drama Time on the 6th of May 2016. Jesus. And every now and again I still lend my services to small guilds. Oh, you wrote... This guy wrote the story. Actually, the second story in my Drama Time was... This is the story. His first one was called Social Guild, Social Raid. I'm sure some of you remember of that. And if you do remember that, apparently it was on the 6th of May 2016. And every now and again, I still lend my services to small guilds to help them get their achievements. But I think now I might be done. What did it take? I remember. What did it take? I have to keep this story streamlined as I'm typing it up at work. Wow. Wow. Lead drafter position? What the fuck is a lead drafter?
I'm a lead drafter.
Motherfucker, that's exactly what I thought. A lead drafter? Lead drafter jobs. He makes drawings of lead? Oh, lead drafter. Oh. That makes more sense. So you're the lead drawer of stuff. Alright, he draws shit. There you go. He draws technical shit. Motherfucker's got a ruler. Puts a 5mm border around every page. I hated that. I fucking hated doing that when we had to do spec drawings. Didn't you?
Why can't we just get paper with 5mm drawn on the
Exactly!
edges?
Exactly! If we always have to put a border on the fucking paper, why not buy paper that has a border on it? Fucking 5mm border on every page. Anyway. I've skipped over some minor plot points, but the audience's immersion should still be solid. Right? We had paper that had a border on it, while you rich motherfucker. What's it like on your ivory tower with your bordered paper, eh? What did you own? 2 pencils? Get on the ground with us.
Who brought it to school for you, your butler?
Yeah, exactly. Can't all turn up in our solid gold pencil cases. This story is focused around just one singular person and how he chose to run his guild. Oh, God. My story today begins where all Alliance alts who are leveling live, Stormwind. While waiting for the Antaurus raid to come out, I decided I would finish leveling my shaman. I logged onto my level 40 shaman and I was greeted with a Cesspool guild invite. Which I accepted, as no one with invite privileges was online in my main guild, and I didn't want to get spammed with guild invites every 5 minutes. 5 minutes? What a dead realm. Yes, I know you can turn off guild invites in the settings, but I would have to go back and re-enable it to accept the invite from my guild. That takes far more effort than I was prepared to do instead of just accepting the invite from this guild. Besides, if I did that, we wouldn't have this story. Luckily, author, only one arsehole pointed it out. And we all know who it is. Shame. So after 10 minutes of being in this guild, I started to take in the guild chat. And I noted that they were in the process of getting a raid team together to step foot into normal Tomb that coming Friday. It got me excited, as I enjoy helping out these smaller guilds. What a hero. I dropped a massage in the guild chat and asked what roles they're looking for. The guild leader, woof, said they needed a healer, which was perfect. I'm a pretty solid healer. The night of the raid. Raid night was upon us. I jumped onto my 930 Holy Pally. Thought you'd throw your iron level in there, did you? Eh? Alright. I jumped onto my 930 Holy Pally. Sent Woof a whisper saying I was the Shami and this was my main. I would bring for the raid night. He sent me an invite. I joined. Grabbed some flasks and food, then flew over to TOS. As I got there, Woof said that the off-tank was unable to make it, and asked if I could tank instead. I said, yeah, of course. I haven't tanked TOS before, but I've got a decent understanding of how it works, and my artifact weapon had concordance. He then upped the ante. He said the off-tank was also the raid leader. Me being me, said that's not a problem. I know what's up. I can lead us. So we start the raid. Before each boss, I give everyone a quick rundown of the major mechanics. We pull the boss, and as we go, I call out what to do. We go through quite well. Some bosses we wiped on, but people learned from their mistakes, and the second pull was usually a kill. After 2 hours, we got up to the Desolate Host. Desolate Host. How many bosses is that? That's like boss number 5, right? Yeah. It's a long time in Tomb, that, ain't it, boys? That's a long time in Tomb. That is a long fucking day. That is a long day. Ooh, shit. After 2 hours, we got up to the Desolate Host. I give a quick rundown of the boss fight. But as we're about to pull, I got a call and had to go AFK for a little while. One of the DPSs stepped up to take over my spot until I got back. AFKing during raids? Answering a phone call? Well, I don't know about you, but my raid leader recently pointed out that on ENR Mythic, answering the phone during raid time is actually a kickable offense. No lie, that happened. I got back 2 hours later only to see they were still on Desolate. You were gone for 2 hours? For a phone call? I got back 2 hours later only to see they were still on the Desolate Host. He did say normal, right? 2 hours on Desolate Host normal? Jesus. I asked, what were they having problems with? What do you think it was? What do you think it was? What couldn't they figure out on the Desolate Host normal? What couldn't they figure it out? I give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They couldn't figure out how to stay alive in the last phase with the boss and the taunting, and what they were calling the hokey pokey phase. They couldn't. Everyone just stood in the like either in the circle or out of the circle. Every time. The hokey pokey phase. Hokey pokey phase. All right. So I take over the reins. Call for the taunts and the boss died. There was cheering for Desolate Host normal. Woo! Woohoo! And after them raiding for 4 hours, it was getting pretty late. I was expecting them to call it for the night, but morale was at an all-time high. Oh no, you're going to Maiden. Ah, shit. 2 hours on Desolate Host and you're going to Maiden? Oh, boys. What are we in for? I was expecting them to call it for the night, but team morale was at an all-time high, which was great. Woof had been smoking weed all night, and at this stage was beginning to get a little paranoid. Oh my god. And confrontational as a result. We cleared the trash in front of Maiden. Woof decided this was the time to assert his dominance. Almost randomly says, as main tank, I'll be tanking her and only taunt when it's necessary, bro. A little staggered by this random outburst that hadn't occurred at any other point in the night, I replied with, you can pull the boss, but I'll let you know when we need to taunt swap, as this fight isn't as straightforward for the tanks as the other bosses. Starts the pull timer. We pull Maiden. We wipe. Now we wiped as a result of a badly timed taunt on my end, which was then followed up by Holy grabbing Fell balls and Fell standing on the wrong side. Basically, it looked like a kid's painting. I explained why we wiped, and 2 attempts later, we killed Maiden. As we cleared the trash to the fallen avatar, I explain to Woof that the next fight is very tank heavy. We need to focus on positioning of the Maiden to make sure the tanks can swap easily, and that the beam doesn't heal up the avatar. A few wipes later, due to Woof not knowing what the hell was going on in that fight, we managed to get to phase 2 by sheer force of will. And once we actually got to phase 2, we killed the avatar. There's some interesting maneuvers by myself and a priest that pulled me back to the platform once the avatar started his cast. Now, once we killed Avatar, I explained to the group that KJ would be a bit more difficult. We need to be on point with doing the mechanics. We've said that it would be best if we call it a night, as they'd been raiding for almost 6 hours. It's getting late. That was understandable, and I was getting tired myself, so we called it for the night. And as we were hearthing back to Dalaran, Woof was explaining that since this was a first run, and it was a success, we need to organise ourselves as a proper raiding guild. I let him know my main guild raided on Monday, optional alt run, and a Wednesday, so any other raid night would work for me. He said that's fine, and we would more likely raid on a Saturday, and maybe do Tuesday if it was required to, you know, clear up anything left in the instance. I told the GM that I wouldn't be using my pally going forward, as that was my main, but I had a resto druid that had 920 item level, and that I would happily bring it to their guild. So the next morning, I jump on my druid, sent an officer a whisper for an invite and got the invite, then logged back onto my chamois to smash out the last few levels. I was running around Stormheim playing what I can only describe as the best mix of 2017 that had some banging tracks, but I digress. I get a whisper from Woof, asking if I saw what had happened in guild chat, and if I could join him on Discord. I noticed there were a few names that got kicked from the guild in the guild logs, but I didn't recognise any of the people. I say I didn't see the guild chat, but I'll hop on Discord. I log on and I saw that at least half the raid team was all in a voice channel waiting for me. Hesitantly, I joined the group, thinking that I was going to be reprimanded by Woof because I main tanked the raid the night before, even though he was supposedly the main tank, but I was greeted by friendly hellos and a very excited sounding GM. Woof then started to explain that the characters that he had kicked belonged to their previous raid leader. And he had spoken to the rest of the raid team, and they all nominated me to be the new raid leader. as he said that he promoted my druid to raid leader, a rank above officer and just below GM. Oh no. Oh no. After he promoted me, the Discord erupted in grats, applause, and woots. I was lost for words. I had been in the guild for a couple of days. We had been on one 6-hour TOS run that wasn't clear. I wasn't active in guild chat, and that my druid was just an alt. I only jumped on once a week to do raids. I thought maybe this would be pretty cool though. Who knows? This might even make a good story to send in for drama time. Hello, here we are. On how I turned. Wait. He saw potential smugs on the wall. This might even make a good story to send into drama time on how I turned a crappy cesspool guild into a guild that also required a guild application process. Well, somebody thought they were going to get away with all the Christmas presents, the cookies, the milk, and the mince pies. Now, it does end that sentence with, spoiler alert, it doesn't go that way. Which way does it go, though? Unfortunately, the old raid leader was the other tank, and that required me to respec my resto druid to a burr. I hadn't touched burr, and I had to level my artifact weapon from scratch, but I had a weekend and a couple of nights during the week to get up to scratch. During that week, I learnt the basics of burr, I got my weapon to a decent concordance level, and I got good Legos. I also created guild events for running M+, to get myself some trinks and help the lower, inexperienced raiders with getting some gear and learning mechanics and how to play their class. Give people experience. I made a couple of weeks worth of calendar invites for the raid, so people knew exactly when we were running and I would be able to get a feel for number, classes, you know, those kinds of things. Raid night came around again and we're forming up. I start the invites 10 minutes before start time for some pre-raid bants and to clear the trash for the first boss so we could start the first pull at the exact time of the raid. Imagine that. What a world. Crazy. We'd begun the raid and the raid as a whole had improved drastically. We still had a couple of DPSs who were, I don't know, let's say, not good. Everyone else had, say, double their damage compared to the previous week. We even had a handful of decent passes. We're one-shotting bosses all the way right up to Maiden. Woof was still needing to learn how to properly use his cooldowns to help the healers out, but the healers were solid and it was only a normal. He still had time to learn before we stepped into heroic. I still stand behind my comment in the last story about normal raids being LFR for guilds. We got to Maiden, and at this stage I noticed that Woof was being very cold towards me. He was losing his temper with me for starting a pull timer and pointing out positioning mistakes by the raiders. A couple of attempts on Maiden and we killed her. Progressed to Fallen Avatar and we one-shot it even though I had to be battle res twice because I was tanking both the bosses a couple of times. We get to KJ. I went over the strats, gave it a couple of pulls. I explained the new mechanics to the raiders as we did the fight so they could see the mechanics firsthand. We had some solid attempts and got KJ to 15, 20%. But Woof was getting to the point in the night where the paranoia was settling in. Woof said we needed to stop. He was too stoned. And called it a night after just 2.5 hours. Jesus Christ. Some of the raiders were quite upset because they wanted to kill KJ. I said, it's all good. Look at the calendar. We got Tuesday. We'll finish up KJ, don't you worry. And maybe we'll give Heroic a try. Most logged off, but a couple had stayed back and we did some LFR and hung out. Woof fell asleep on his keyboard, apparently after taking what he described as the final fat rip from his bong. I said my goodnights and logged off. The next morning I logged on to my shaman to finish the last couple of levels. But when I logged on, I noticed a random guild invite popped up. That's weird. I'm already in a guild. I logged over to my druid. He's guildless too. I logged onto Discord and was kicked. I rejoined and was followed by a server ban. I said woof and whisper. What's going on? I was on ignore. I sent the other officers a whisper, but one already put me on ignore and the other said he had nothing to say to me and then put me on ignore. Now, it's pretty mad that Woof was so much of a beta that he kicked me without even telling me why. I sent one of the better raiders a message and he told me that Woofer had told the guild that I was trying to take over the guild and had been calling him all kinds of names. And I wasn't going to show any dedication to the guild, and I was only online during raid nights, and I never helped the guild to progress, and that I was going to take all the bank and go back to my main. Triggered by this news, I copied one of the guild calendar invites, removed him from it, and in the raid description I left a letter to the raiders, telling them that I found out about what he had said. How I had never asked for guild leadership, and that I was here just to help out. It was Woofer's idea to promote me to raid leader in the first place, and Woofer knew that if it wasn't on my druid, I was on my chamois, which was also in the guild. I finished the note by saying I had no hard feelings, but maybe they should find a less stoned raid leader. A week later, the day after raid night, I got a whisper on my chamois from a few of the raiders, saying that Woofer had took over the raid leading, and they had reached up to KJ. But they didn't know how to do the dark phase. Woofer apparently was in charge of finding Illidan, but kept falling off. Nobody move! I will find Illidan. You guys all stay still. No, 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 no! Stay still. I got this. I don't think he understood that I was spamming on the minimap on KJ's location. I don't know. Oh, God. All right, just from this line, I don't think the idiot realized that I was spamming the minimap on KJ's location. I have an image of this guy finding Illidan and then saying he's here. He's here. He's on me. Let's get he's here. Come on. Everybody. It's all good, man. I don't know what has happened with this guild as I don't remember them. I didn't want to check up on them. My last story, I suggested that during off-time raiders might have fun helping out smaller guilds. Are you guys convinced? Raiders who are watching now, are you convinced? Are you convinced? Are you going to do that? Are you going to go and help out the smaller guilds? But the more I do it, the harder it is for me to recommend. The last good guild that I spoke about in my last history, where we got into Mythic Starbro, that guild fell apart soon after due to dramas on extending lockouts. Have a good one, Preacher. And maybe have a knee slapper on me. I've got a beer waiting for you and for Ghosty. A beer?
Yes, mate.
A beer for you, sir.
Down to Clon for a fucking brewski, mate.
Over the Christmas break, and I'll try and get around to write it in a little newbie story. Oh, yeah, you're not going to do it, are you? No, nobody's doing it. Right, we're going to go fast for the last one. Super fast. How much have I got? 7 minutes. And my wife won't lose her mind. Because my family's back. No, keyboard, please. Newcastle Brown Ale? No. Remember, tomorrow you're going to need beer and something that you can shoot. I don't know if we should go Jägermeister again, Andy.
So I'm bringing down my Disaronno.
It burns, you know. It burns. I don't know if we need a name. Anyway, we're going fast. Howdy from the good old Duke South of the USA in Atlanta. Preacher and Ghosty. Atlanta. That doesn't work.
Atlanta, Mississippi.
Been a long time viewer. Been a long time viewer of Drama Time, but it's the first time sending in the story. What follows, everybody, is the chronicle of the legend, the herald of war, the inspirational leader, the relentless, the keyboard turner, the Strikelord, Wesley. Wesley will be our man. Come on, quick. Come on, keyboard. Fucking wireless. Wesley. I began my journey from WoW when entering the 8th grade around 13 to 14. My first ever character and my main to this day was a Tauren Feral Druid, and I still remember the days of the strange cat-monkey creature model for cat form. Now, despite being young, I was fairly familiar with MMOs since I previously had played Star Wars Galaxies. so WoW wasn't too difficult to get the hang of. I remember choosing an RP PvP server because I wanted some PvP in my life, and at the same time figured an RP server would be the Bants. The story and community aspect of SWG was what I loved the most. I never got into serious raiding in vanilla, but did get off to tank as a burr, be a bitch innovate slave up until AQ40. I distinctly remember being in vent and never speaking because I didn't own a mic and was afraid my parents would think I was talking to some online pedophiles. That's science. My guild at the time. We need a kid's edgy name. We need a kid's edgy name. We're going to call them the Lego Blades. The Lego Blades were well known on the server, and some of the officers and higher seniority members were amazing people and players, but we were not the most well-known guild on the server, far from it in fact. Another guild was renowned throughout. Funny enough, this guild is still active to this day. This guild was Weebs for Dweebs, led by, that's right, the Strikelord Wesley. Wesley was a legend on our server. He was a prominent figure and legend on the server, known for his hardcore RP skills. Wesley never broke character. Even Wesley's server forum posts were in character. He was an orc, prot warrior, who spoke like one of the orc peons in short broken sentences. Wesley won't fight tiny humans. Wesley thirsts for blood. Wesley wants to bash alliance skulls, etc. You get the idea. Wesley was also an active world PvP and would often rally countless players to raid alliance towns and cities. This is the primary reason Wesley founded the Weebs for Dweebs. Over time, Wesley appointed trusted individuals to be his strike commanders and lieutenants as guild officers. Weebs for Dweebs grew to be the most populated and active guild on the server for RP and PvP. However, there was one catch. Despite everything I have just described, Wesley did not become a legend for his in-game character, which was hilarious, or his ability to rally countless hordes to assault the Alliance. No, Wesley became a legend for being the worst player we had ever seen. Wesley was arse cheeks personified. He was complete shit at any form of PvP, or any aspect of the game in general. To stay alive during his own world PvP raids, Wesley would have upwards of 9 to 10 dedicated healers. No exaggeration, this guy was straight up garbage. He was a keyboard turner through and through. To make matters worse, his guild was the definition of Cesspool. They would recruit absolutely anyone as long as they were Horde. If Wesley or any officer discovered that someone had an alliance character on any server at any point in time, they would be removed from the guild. Their name would go in the blacklist so they may never return. A living meme before memes existed. The guild was filled with hundreds of terrible, yet only Horde players. Anyone who wasn't promoted to the Strike Force would automatically assume anyone from the guild was a scrub, and seeing someone there being invited to your group was cause enough to being disbanded and spamming trade chat for another. During Cataclysm. Oh, went too far. Even the Alliance partook in the perpetual roasting of the guild. Weebs for Dweebs was known for being relentless in its killing of the Alliance. The problem was that everyone was so bad they could only really zone hop and camp people trying to level up. Most of their world organized PvP raids were in Stranglethorn Vale. The Alliance guilds of the server eventually became familiar with Wesley and his guild's incompetence. And while he was there, his response hilarious. Quite often, rival ally PvP guilds would rush into Orgrimmar, locate Wesley, kill him, and peace out. Content to kill the renowned Strikelord. Everyone standing in front of the old school Orgrimmar bank would just watch as Wesley was relentlessly slaughtered and then threw out a /lol/violin and proceed on their way. It was a common occurrence. Now, in vanilla, I never had any personal experiences with Wesley, aside from seeing the facepalm that was, of course, his Horde strike force, and partaking in the occasional roasting of their members. My first experience with the Strikelord himself did not occur until Wrath of the Lich King. It was shortly after Ulduar released and I was leveling an alt mage. I was under the Crystal Song Forest speaking to one of the quest givers when suddenly I was attacked by a stealth rogue. This fellow was a good 2 levels higher than me and I knew I was fucked. I attempted to escape the shit situation, but it was hopeless. This ganking piece of shit would have his prize. That is until out of the sky my saviour arrived, swooping down from the heavens like a divine angelic figure. It was him. It was Wesley. He proceeded to bash the rogue into the ground. He then proceeded to stick the rogue's body with the thumbs down flag and give me a short RP speech. Something along the lines of, Wesley hate alliance. Wesley feel good killing elf. Wesley show no mercy. He then proceeded to remount and fly off into the distance. This experience gave me a newfound appreciation for the legendary Strikelord himself. And his gesture was one that I would someday repay. Skip ahead to Kata during the drought that followed the Dragon Soul. My then guild was a small group of friends who had played with each other over the years. We numbered maybe 15 total. One day, following a half-heroic, half-normal clear of Dragon Soul, we saw in trade that Wesley was leading a campaign against Stormwind and needed the help of other members of the Horde. Half bored, half curious to see how events would turn out, our 10-man raid team decided to ally with Wesley's strike force. Everyone gathered in Southern Elven Forest as Wesley began organising the raid. All in all, there were around 60 players, so 1.5 full raids. Wesley circled with his official strike commanders and began to lay out his plan, all the while remaining in character. It had me rolling on the floor. His officers were also in all character and worshipped Wesley like he was God. Wesley proceeded to give the officers plans /say, and the officers would repeat verbatim the words of Wesley, the Strikelord, true leader of the Horde. It was a spectacle with chanting, shouting, the kind you would see in a movie before a battle. Now, our small party were all in our own vent channel, and our channel was filled with laughing and just cringe-riddled sighs. Eventually, I decided to speak out and ask Wesley when the assault would begin. I was chastised by an officer for not appropriately addressing Wesley as the Strikelord. I gave him the proper respect he deserved. Wesley forgave my transgression and informed our small contingency of friends that we would lead the initial assault onto Stormwind with support from the full might of the Horde strike force, followed up under Wesley's command. The 10 of us mounted and began to fly to Stormwind Castle, ready to kill the king. However, we were stopped because Wesley refused such a cheap tactic to bypass Stormwind's defences. That was not in the spirit of war. It was at this moment I knew we'd have fucked up. The entire raid then RP marched to the gates of Stormwind, killing anyone flagged in our path. Once at the gates, our small group proceeded to rush across the bridge and assault the city. We were immediately met by a large group of Alliance and began to fight for our lives. In hindsight, Wesley's plan to RP walk all the way to the city, followed by the Alliance, gave the Alliance ample time to prepare. Wasn't the best plan. I expected more from the legendary Strikelord. Our 10-man group held strong, fighting the initial waves of Alliance that came to stop us. Maybe we can actually make our way through the city and kill the king and have some lulls along the way, I thought to myself. Slowly, however, we began to break down. I then questioned where the rest of our huge raid was. After all, we were supporting Rush in behind us in this glorious horde. I should have known better. I looked behind to see what remained of the Horde strike force. A small group of PvP-geared Alliance had swooped in to kill the Strikelord like the days of old. These PvPers did not abide by the laws of Wesley's RP. They simply wanted to kill Wesley, to down the Strikelord. All that remained of our 40+ members of the strike force were a handful of healers desperately trying to keep themselves alive. Shield in hand, Wesley desperately keyboard turned in circles, trying to escape the endless waves of CC. In between turning, he would let out a loud RP yell macro about avenging his fallen brothers and bringing glory to the Horde. Eventually, though, the Strikelord fell. His healers fell along with him. The small Alliance assault force then proceeded to drop every guild flag, toy, and item possible on the Strikelord's corpse, and took turns teabagging him. My group of friends were then finished, as we succumbed to the numbers. I finally understood what it meant to go on one of Wesley's strike forces. I must confess the entire experience was well worth the death and countless corpse runs necessary to get my body a safe distance. It became a great story amongst friends. We became known to Wesley as the Vanguard Force, the elite mercenary troops for the main strike force. We had led the way, sacrificing body and soul for Wesley's army, but we died in vain. In all seriousness, Wesley seemed like a cool dude. Enjoyed his RP, loved his game. He may have been shit at the game, but he had spirit. And based on my experience, his events were fun despite being complete failures. Funnily enough, Wesley was featured in 15 Minutes of Fame segment of WoW. My favourite part in the article is in reference to ganking when Wesley is asked about ganking lower level players during escort quests. Despite how awful this is to do to somebody, some players and guilds actively encourage this kind of thing. I personally revel in the fact that my guild, the Weebs for Dweebs, is amongst them. A total hero.
How long?
1 minute.
James is my doctor, so.
Oh. For your chat and for your reading, here's a link to Wesley's insider interview. Please enjoy. Long live the Strikelord. Long live Wesley. Long live the dream. And let every one of us here today remember that fallen hero as he stood up and stood proud against the Alliance and did what he could. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from my wifey, I need to go. Apparently my son's going to the doctor's, so it sounds like I've got a thing to deal with. I will be here tomorrow for my birthday web show, the Christmas web show, all going on tomorrow at 8 PM GMT. You guys, if you're not coming tomorrow, have a great time. But if you are coming, get yourself some drinks. Or not, it's up to you. And have some fun. All right, guys? Thank you all. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.